Okay, y'all
All right,
rolling.
we going?
Let's do
I'm
it.
so excited. I can't stop moving. Well, I'm Kai.
I'm Hayley.
And this is Night Classy, a podcast where we don't want no scrubs.
Oh my God, he switched it up. I love it. It's so true. We
It is
also
true.
sip wine.
And I guess we have a lot of new listeners now, so I should probably actually do this.
For real.
This is, for real. It's a clothing company where you can buy used designer clothes. No, this is not an ad. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, everyone. This is Night Classy, the podcast where two teachers unwind, sip wine, and discuss topics we wish we could teach at school. What are we drinking, Hayley?
Today we are drinking not wine, but Bud Light Seltzer. Bow, bow, bow.
Bow, bow, bow.
So this is not something we elected to do. I mean, we did, but it was just kind of like out of convenience sake, not going to our busy ass Kroger.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was a little scared to buy it. So the Kroger by our house, if you're not from the South, Kroger is a grocery store, and
It's in the north too.
not in Washington. I had never heard of a
It is in
Kroger.
Ohio.
Okay, well, east, the east half of the country. It's Memphis. It's a food desert for a lot of social reasons, but there are not enough grocery stores. So the grocery stores we do have are always fucking packed, and there are lines around the store. So I was trying to avoid Kroger today. I went to Walgreens trying to find White Claw, and they weirdly chose to not buy White Claw, but they did stock up on Bud Light Seltzer and Corona Seltzer. So I bought Bud Light Seltzer.
Maybe it's like a non-compete thing that since they sell to Kroger and other places, maybe they just don't have. I don't know.
I don't know. It's the same price as a White Claw. Maybe there's a bigger profit margin on Bud Light, because I just can't imagine why you wouldn't have White Claw, but you have Bud Light Seltzer. But I don't want to shit on it because it is good.
It worked out.
In a blind taste test, I don't think I'd be able to tell the difference.
I mean, I would say I think White Claw is a little bit more fizzy. I noticed that I'm kind of sensitive to the bubbles and things like that. But yeah, it's great.
So do you prefer this because it's less fizzy?
You know, I'm gonna go out a limb. Fuck. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say, yeah, I think I would go Bud Light Seltzer over White Claw.
That's a controversial opinion. If
I'm
I were you, I'd maybe keep that to myself.
Well, listen, I have my reasons. I'm like almost done with my second one and I haven't needed to burp at all. But you guys know, like, I burp a lot when I drink White Claws. And that's not a fun experience for anyone involved.
It's a fun experience for me. I like it.
Well, good to know.
Yeah.
If you're ever in a bad
Burp
mood,
on
I'll
me.
be sure to down a White Claw and make it happen.
All right, I'm excited. Anyway, do we have updates? I have a few.
Let's see. We're going into our very last week of official summer / quarantine vacation. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
So it'll, for the next several months, we're going to be like full-time working teachers.
I know. Before this, I felt like a full-time podcaster, but now it's back to real life. Financially, can't be a full-time podcaster yet. Donate to us on Patreon at patreon.com/nightclassy. But gonna be a full-time teacher. So I guess that means I'm gonna start coming to the studio in sweatpants and not looking cute.
Yeah, we can get like super cute now, but I'm kind of excited to be just in regular loungy clothes.
I know.
Again.
The Instagram won't look as good, but we'll feel better.
We should I've seen some really cute like pajama sets or lounge sets that are like tie-dye.
Should we just start wearing pajama sets
matching? We should just go like on a splurge for like cute pajama lounge wear.
We definitely should. Also, it's hilarious. Like Alex's studio, Parasaur, is inside of this office building, and we always come in here after hours at like 7 and pass the same security guard, and we say hi to him, but we never explain what we're doing, and we always walk in here with like open wine glasses, looking like hot messes, and just like march in here with a bunch of alcohol, and I just like really wonder what he thinks we do in here.
I also think like, I don't think he gives a crap.
Oh, he does. He definitely doesn't care. But if I were him, like bored as hell, sitting at a desk, I would like come up with some theories.
Yeah, we walked up on him today. He's just like sitting in the parking garage, like in a golf cart, like just looking into nothing.
He always looks miserable. Maybe we should invite him up here to hang out with us sometime.
My God, we should.
Yeah, we can wear masks.
Yeah, we're the only ones here.
Yeah.
So if anyone, like, you need to watch us.
Yeah.
So participate. Night classy.
I feel like he would hate this, but maybe not.
We've never even talked to him.
That's true. We also have other exciting things happening. We just had Marcus Lehman on the podcast, and he was a freaking delight. I still can't get over how wonderful of a person he is.
I know. I was so nervous to talk to someone who's been on TV and who's also a practicing doctor, which is like a whole other thing.
He's a qualified genius according to his IQ, which I learned from Survivor. And he also is just the nicest person. He's a doctor. He's been on all these TV shows. He competed on Survivor and did really well. He's just amazing. And we're really lucky to have him on the podcast.
It was so fun. We got to have 90 minutes of his time to just ask him anything. So if you're also a fan of reality TV or reality in general, you should subscribe to Patreon so you can see the full video.
Yeah. We did not edit that video at all.
It's raw.
The thing we released to the public will be edited. But like, if you want to see us at our worst, I don't want to say worst, but
not the worst. Okay, that morning was definitely
that morning was
rough.
a little rough, and
we stayed up late the night before, and we drank, and we're not used to getting up early.
Yeah, the interview was at 9 a.m., but we got here at 8 a.m. Left the house at like 7:30 because we got breakfast and
a little brekkie
fast, and it was interesting. There's like a whole like first 5 minutes of that video that we didn't even realize we posted. We forgot that it was in there of
We're
us
just
like
hanging out,
mumbling into the microphone,
being kids,
saying weird shit, being kids. But yeah, so if you want to see the full video, go to Patreon. And Marcus was just great. Even if you don't like reality TV, he's a really interesting person.
Yeah, it was so cool to see the reality side of reality TV. I didn't realize how much of it was real or like how they edit things. It was really awesome to hear it firsthand from someone who's been on multiple reality TV shows.
Oh yeah, and he said something like every episode of Survivor is edited down from 300 hours into like a 45 to an hour long episode, which blew my mind. And so it was really interesting to get that perspective. I'll never watch TV the same way ever again.
Me either. And especially knowing how he viewed things and then how it came off as an audience member. That was life-changing for all viewing purposes.
Totally. And he got edited kind of dirty in Labor of Love, so it was really nice to get his perspective. He's a great person. Other than that, we also have some other new Patreon content. We have our video of us drinking the hooch. Yeah, and
prison
straining
wine.
the prison wine video. By the time this comes out, it should be on Patreon.
Let's not give any spoilers, though.
Yeah, it was an experience.
We did this, if you're not up to date, we did this because for our 21st episode, we did alcohol-themed lessons. And part of mine was teaching Kat and our listeners how to create prison wine. It's a disgusting sounding process.
Yeah, it was horrifying.
We decided to do it in case we ever need to make prison wine.
And then after the fact, Alec asked me what it tasted like, and I said it tasted like when you have a bowl of fruit and the fruit on the bottom starts to rot and juices out everywhere. It's like drinking what was at the bottom of the bowl.
I mean, yeah, that's what we were drinking.
Yeah, it was
mixed with some other shit.
It was disgusting. So if you want to see us completely degrade ourselves for the sake of money, head to Patreon. It's fun.
It was so fun.
We should have Kelly's episode out on Patreon too, either when this comes out or shortly after. So hold tight. If you are a Patreon subscriber, really sorry that it's taken us so long to edit it, but like it's been a crazy month. So thanks for bearing with us.
Yeah. And thanks for donating.
Yeah. Thank you for donating. Other than that, we understand that not everyone can be a Patreon, but We do really appreciate your help in any form. If you don't want to donate money, you can rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, or just tell your friends about us. Word of mouth helps so much. And also, if you share us on your Instagram story and tag us, we do send free stickers. So
yes, ma'am.
Maybe you should think about that if you want a really cool holographic sticker. Not to bribe you or anything, but that's how that works.
Not to bribe and also not to brag. They're really cool and beautiful.
They are really cool and beautiful. And also, voting for Best Memphis Podcast starts on August 26th. So be ready for that. When this comes out, that'll be like a few days from then. So follow us on all our social media platforms and you'll see the link.
Please. Yes. It will take minutes, if that, of your time.
Oh, not even minutes.
Yeah.
It takes like 30 seconds. So
if you like us, help us get our word out there.
Yeah, we would just really appreciate it. And other than that, do you have anything else?
I think I'm good. I think I'm ready to go.
Okay. I do have one more thing. I promised my mom I would apologize to her on air.
I love this already. Can I guess what it's about?
Sure.
When you said okay, I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to guess because maybe it'll cause you to have to apologize for other things.
I'm apologizing because I guess I only remember one time, but she said she's sick and tired of it. So I'm guessing maybe it's happened multiple times.
Oh, wow.
But she said she's tired of me accusing her of not listening.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was going to guess.
And to be fair, I called her out for not listening in episode 15. And she's just now getting on my case. So,
and this is episode 23. So.
Yeah, but her feelings seemed hurt. And she says she listened to all of it. She just forgot to listen to episode 15. So,
you're still throwing shade at your mom.
But I'm sorry, Mom. I yes, you do listen. I have a supportive mother.
That's amazing.
Just so everyone knows, she doesn't want America to judge her.
Oh, I mean, honestly, shout out to all of the people who take the time to listen. Like, it just means so much. Mm-hmm. One thing, like, from friends and family, but especially from strangers who don't know us personally, who have no motive other than like that they enjoy listening to us.
Yeah, we are still in a state of disbelief that anyone wants to listen to us. So thank you guys truly so much. I know that everyone says like they appreciate their fans and their listeners, but
we're not lying.
We are not
like
lying.
The other ones.
Like every time someone comments on our stuff or messages us on Instagram or mentions us in their story, like I send screenshots to everyone.
It's a whole conversation in the house.
Yeah, I'm just like I'm truly so thankful for you all. So that was a little blubber fest. Thank you guys. So is that on that?
I think that's on that. Let's roll.
All right. So we breathalyzed.
I blew a .134.
And I blew a .13. Lucky number 13. So I need to catch up.
Barely.
But a little bit.
So I will dive in. So, Kat, do you know what year Nelson Mandela died? Was it in the 1980s or was it in the 2010s?
2010s.
Okay. Perfect. That is true.
Yeah.
But there's a widespread disbelief or belief, basically an incorrect belief, that he died in prison in the 1980s. So a lot of people report remembering like news reports and his funeral when he died in prison in the 1980s, but it's not true. They're shocked to find out that he was either still alive when they found out before 2013.
That'd be so embarrassing.
Yeah. But like that's the thing though, it's like a widespread confusion over Nelson Mandela's death.
It took me a second to think. Yeah.
I didn't know, like when I started researching this, what I'm going to be covering today is the Mandela Effect. This effect is named after him. It was requested by one of our podcast friends, The Tales We Tell.
Great pod.
Check them out.
They have stories just as interesting as ours, but better researched, and they're a lot more chill.
Yeah.
They're like, they're a good podcast to relax to.
Absolutely.
It's like Tales by the Fire.
Mm-hmm. So please check them out. Shout shout out to, again, the Tales We Tell for recommending the Nelson Mandela Effect, or in shorter version, the Mandela Effect. So this happens when people misremember the same thing in the same way. Mm-hmm. And supposedly it was founded by this woman, or like established, I guess, from this woman named Fiona Broome, but just like a little, I guess, baby mama drama, if you will.
I love a baby mama drama.
This other woman, Starfire Tor, she claims that she founded this Mandela Effect, and that Fiona Broome is just like taking all of her research and work that has gone into this thing.
I feel like this is Inception, because it's like an effect about misremembering something at the same time, and then like there's two people fighting over like if they were the first one to come up with it. One of them is misremembering. I don't know who.
Okay, so she's a self-described, and I quote, leading authority on alternate realities.
Oh no.
So
she's
100% that bitch. And I highly recommend you all check out her website, because it is just very, very interesting.
Is this the cat ghost woman?
Yes.
Oh, good.
I sent Kat an article earlier this week. Basically, this woman like posted some pictures to her website/blog where it was just like some blurry pictures, but she's like, "This is my deceased cat in ghost form," and it's like pages of words,
pages of testimony. Like half of it was just about how good she was at taking care of her cat. Yeah. and then the pictures looked like she like took a video on her phone of her holding her phone, and then just like moved her arm as fast as she could.
It's just a blurry picture.
And then took a screenshot.
Yeah. So this woman was involved in my research. Okay. I'm not going to talk about her a lot, but if you guys want something kind of like funny or interesting to look at, go to just search Starfire, one word, and then Tor, T-O-R. But basically, from what I understand, she states on her website that she was the one who put this false information about Nelson Mandela's death out into the world in her research in order to test one of her time theories.
Oh no.
So that's Starfire Tor, and that has nothing to do with this lesson, but I just needed to talk about her.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, so either way, the Mandela Effect is experienced by people all over the world. Some people call it false memories. Some people call it supporting evidence for a multiverse.
Yeah.
So we experienced the Mandela Effect just yesterday. Before our interview with Marcus, we were having mimosas and we had Minute Maid orange juice.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, what? I thought Minute Maid was like, Maid was spelled M-A-D-E, like, but it's actually spelled M-A-I-D.
Yeah.
And it made like the M-A-D-E spelling made more sense to me, because it was like, it's easy, just pour like right there, and it's made for you. And so I needed to look into it because, of course, I wanted some like evidence to support it. So it turns out Minute Maid was created for the exact reason of it being like easily accessible. The U.S. wanted to elevate the quality of the food and drink that our troops were consuming in World War II. So they made Minute Maid, and that was a juice concentrate, and it was spelled M-A-I-D, but that doesn't make any sense to me. And I also feel like I remember it being M-A-D-E because it's made like in a minute.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big part of the Mandela Effect is you remember things as you think they should be.
Yes.
You know, like how you think it should be spelled to make sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So my whole objective for this lesson is I'm going to go into giving some examples of the Mandela Effect. So follow along with those and let us know if you had any that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that it's actually this. And then I'm going to go into like two sides of the coin. I'm going to try to debunk it, and I'm also going to give some supporting evidence, if you will. So my first example is the Looney Tunes. How would you spell it? Would it be Looney, T-U-N-E-S, or T-O-O-N-S?
This is really hard for me because I read so many of those BuzzFeed things that like have examples of the Mandela Effect.
Right.
So
okay.
now I'm like second guessing both ways.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to guess, probably T-O-O-N-S.
Right. And that's what most people think, but it's Tunes. Yeah.
Look at that.
And that also is like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's cartoons.
It would be better the other way. It was just a marketing fail on their part. Not that it didn't work out for them, but
we need a marketing reform.
Yeah.
Okay, next one is the Berenstein Bears or the Berenstein Bears. Which one is it? Berenstein or Beren?
It's the Berenstain Bears, but you pronounce it Berenstein.
Yeah, I was messed up about this one. Also, I feel like the Berenstain Bears are like the lesser talked about cousins of like the Charmin Bears. They're like,
ew, no, do not. I hate Charmin commercials. I get like a visceral reaction when I watch them.
The Charmin Bears are the cousins in the family who are doing everything right, and the Berenstain Bears.
The Berenstein Bears are like their disgusting cousins that like wipe each other's asses with the same piece of toilet paper.
Or they just don't. They're patient zero for dingleberries.
Yeah. Dingleberries?
Dingleberries.
Is it Berries or B? How do you spell bear? BEAR?
Yeah, oh my God, it's BEARRIS.
Whoa, no way.
From the Berenstain Bears. So speaking of mammals, does Curious George have a tail?
No.
Correct. But many people misremember him as having a tail, especially because he's referred to as Little Monkey.
He should have a tail.
But he's an ape. So apes don't
He's
have
an
tails.
ape?
Yeah, because he doesn't have a tail.
I didn't know there were apes that small. I guess I did. That's a lie. But he does look like a monkey that should have a tail.
Yeah, he really does. He really does. Okay, next up, we have Febreze, which is great for making your house smell great and not like cat poop. So
I just bought some new Febreze today.
Not that we know anything about that.
Not that our entire house smells like a cat box.
Yeah, not that our lives have been really affected by having 3 cats or anything. Ha. Anyway. How do you spell Febreze?
Feb. Reez.
That's what I thought too, but it turns out it's Febreze. Febreze. Yeah. Okay, next up, the Monopoly Man. Picture him in your mind.
Okay.
Does he have a monocle?
No.
You're nailing all of these.
It's because I've seen all the articles.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm a bad person to be the audience for
have
this.
you seen any of this stuff?
I've also seen all the articles.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, shit.
But it also sort of trains you to just like, which one do you think? And then go against the opposite. So it's hard to do it unbiasedly.
That too. And I read an article on one of these things that said like a lot of people get the Monopoly Man like confused with Mr. Peanut. And that's why people think he has a monocle. Were you going to say that?
That's what Tommy said too.
Yeah.
But the support behind all of these is that like this is a widespread thing. Like it isn't just some random things where people got confused. It's a bunch of people misremembering. I have 2 more. What color is Pikachu's tail?
Yellow.
Yellow only?
Is it yellow and brown?
Wait. It's like yellow, brown, and then black, right?
That's what a lot of people misremember. It's yellow only.
Oh, you made me second guess myself.
I know.
That was rude.
You fell. Yeah, you were suggestible.
Yeah.
Man, and we play Pokemon all the time.
Too much.
Yeah, you guys are stupid for not knowing. Just kidding.
I'm like, I was thinking of Raichu.
Raichu's tail is all brown, isn't it?
Yeah, his is all black within the lightning bolt at the end. Raichu's tail is all black and it's a line, and then it has a yellow lightning bolt
you're
at the end. If I remember correctly.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
What if we had a huge fight about what Raichu's tail
on air? I fought him just yesterday. I know.
You're thinking of Mimikyu.
So yeah, Pikachu's tail is only yellow. And Kat, you should know this one. How do you spell Kit Kat?
KITKAT.
What do you think, Alec? Yes or no?
I think the same.
Yes, that's true. A lot of people misremember it as having a hyphen between kit and cat.
Oh, I would have thought there was a hyphen.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
there's not one.
I don't.
Okay.
I would never. I don't know. I would never know either way.
Okay. I thought there was a hyphen between Kit Kat. I'm not really sure why. It just seems right.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I lied. I have 2 additional
Ooh, okay.
ones. What does the wicked queen in Snow White say when she's talking into the mirror?
What? In Snow White. I was thinking of Wicked. I got
Not
confused.
wicked.
Okay.
Not wicked.
That was
The
a brain
queen
train.
is wicked, but not wicked.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?
Gotcha. It is magic mirror on the wall.
Oh, okay.
And it's just been like repeated so much incorrectly, I think is a good explanation for this like Mandela effect. But a lot of people are like, I swear it's a mirror, mirror on the wall.
I mean, I would never think that it would be magic mirror.
Me either.
Yeah.
I was like, that seems wrong.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if this was some kind of global conspiracy and they're changing the names of like candy bars and Pokemon tails?
Like just to like fuck with us.
Yeah.
Okay, you got me.
Yeah, right. To take like the pressure, they're like, all right, if they're focusing on this random shit, then they're not going to focus on us.
Right. Or like this is all just a simulation and we keep flipping through different.
Don't worry, we're going to get
Okay.
into that. Don't worry.
Okay.
Okay. Last one. We love avocados in our house, and there's a major brand that takes up pretty much 80% of the avocados in the world. Is it Haas with 2 A's, or is it Haas with 1 A? HAAS or HASS?
I literally have no opinion because I didn't even know
You
there
don't
was
remember?
a brand of avocados.
Oh, really?
I don't know about Haas
Yeah.
either.
Oh, okay. Because I definitely thought it was HAAS,
Okay.
but it's Haas. And that's another in my final.
Isn't that like I was going to say Mexican word, wow. Spanish word though, because they come from Mexico?
So they do come from Mexico, but it was actually postman Rudolph Haas in California who patented the Haas avocado in 1935 after he purchased the original Haas avocado seed. And he actually almost gave up, but his I forget who convinced him not to, but he didn't. And good thing, because like I said, it makes up 80% of all avocados worldwide.
Yeah.
Wait, he made it?
He didn't make it. He tried to like crossbreed it with other avocados to make it better, but like basically everything failed until it was like the original tree that he planted. And he was like, well, fuck, I guess I'll just stick with this one. And it ended up being a hit. They actually have like a historical site, and the tree is still there in in California.
That's cool.
Wow.
And it is in fact HASS.
Wow.
That could be a whole nother night classy topic.
Could be. Or
Avocados.
Or the avocado cartel.
Oh, what is
Another necklace.
that?
Maybe I'll do it.
Oh shit, you need to, because I'm interested.
Okay.
Is it Haas or Haas cartel?
I don't know. Depends on which reality you're in.
That's
it's a
true.
heist.
Oh,
Nice avocado.
Love that.
Am I thinking about the right thing?
What?
Where they steal avocados
I mean,
as a heist?
the cartel kills a lot of people, steals avocado trucks, and then resells them.
Yeah.
Basically.
The thing I read about was framing it as a heist. That's what my joke was for the audience. Didn't want you guys to think it was a bad joke.
Yeah, no, but avocados are worth, I'll just summarize it. Avocados are worth so much money that like the cartel a lot of times like steals avocados from avocado farms and resells them in the United States.
I mean, that's really messed up. But and like obviously the cartel is also attached to like a lot of drug action. And
Yeah.
sometimes like I'm like,
But, like,
avocado is
avocados-
like a drug.
It
It's
is.
like it's good as fuck.
Yeah, it's good as fuck, and like it's worth so much money. Like you pay like $1.50 per avocado.
Yeah, what is with that?
Yeah.
We need more avocados in this world.
We do.
We should plant an avocado tree at our house. It's really easy to start the seeds.
Do you think an avocado tree would grow in Memphis?
I don't know.
Alex
We should try
shaking
it.
his
Alex
head.
says no. Have you ever tried?
No, but I just think it'd get too cold.
Yeah,
Mm.
we could keep it in our house.
Yeah.
Yeah, get a humidifier.
We'll keep y'all updated.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Stay tuned.
now I'm going to try to debunk it first. And
Okay.
like I said, I'm going to do both, okay? So I'm going to start with our brain. The brain is super complicated, as well as the way that we form our memories. And the way our brain works could, I think, debunk the Mandela effect completely in entirety. And so I tried to simplify how this works in our brain a little bit through kind of comparing our brains to a high school. Okay. So our neurons in our brain are like the high school students in the school, in the building. Okay. So you have your friends, your foes, athletic people, drama people. They create this high school experience for us. They help us form memories, maybe not store them, but they help us form them. And so what's cool is that we can use MRI technology to see where these specific memories are stored in like specific areas of the brain. And so since we can see our little neuron memory friends firing off when we call their name or call that memory to mind, we know that we can tell based off of these scans that just like a high school population, there are cliques. So there are drama kids who eat they eat their lunch with the drama kids. The band kids eat lunch with the band kids. The goth kids eat lunch with the goth kids. And the podcasters drink with the podcasters, right? So everyone has their own little group and they're all kind of alike and they all sit together.
If you went back to high school as who you are now, what group do you think you'd be in?
I'd be an incel. I'd be a rogue spy. I'd be an incel rogue spy in the popular girl group and I'd take them down. I don't know. That's a really tough question to answer. I feel like I would go more after, like, I would want to get involved in drama. That's a regret that I have. And I'd get more serious about the art that I did.
Yeah.
What about you?
I have the same feeling. I would probably do drama. I never did that, but I wish I did.
Yeah, I do too. I was so shy. And now, like, I mean, I still am like shy on the inside, but I've learned to just like cast that away. Yeah. And be like, whatever. Like, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, sorry.
So that's what I would do. But it turns out that it isn't just great minds that think alike. Okay, so like a study was done at Berkeley to document across like a significant population where specific words are stored inside the brain. And for most people, it's like within the same region of the brain. So it's pretty streamlined. And so with that knowledge, I'm going to move forward and still use this like high school comparison when talking about the brain. So when you're in the cafeteria, you have the athletic clique sitting together. And so the athletic clique could be comprised of, let's say, like the football players at their football player table, and then next to them are the cheerleaders at their cheerleader table. So they're both within the athletic group, but they're still different things, each at their own respective tables. So they have similar schedules, they're high school students, all that stuff. And so they have so many connections, just like our neurons. Even though they're not the same thing, they're pretty similar. And so they have these connections. So when we remember something, the neural pathway we use to retrieve these memories, is strengthened. It's like a muscle. You know, every time you work out, you get stronger. But the thing about these neural pathways that I think there's a misconception about is that it does not just grow to and from where this memory is stored. It grows a connection every which way. So it kind of lights it up like a sparkler. If you can picture that, like there are sparks going out everywhere, not just up the sparkler. Okay. And so this is what creates a memory trace, and it allows our memories to get kind of twisted sometimes and foggy or mistaken as all these traces become intertwined, just like cliques in high school do. Okay. And one of my favorite examples came from this article from Discover Magazine. It's about Alexander Hamilton. And I'm sure you learned, whether it was in high school or watching the musical. Shout out to Hamilton. We just watched it. You haven't watched it yet. Yeah, I did.
I haven't watched it. It's one of those things that like I want to be present in the moment and like dedicate.
You got to put your phone down.
I
feel like that's your issue, is that you're going to have to put your phone down.
Phone down.
You're welcome.
This is an intervention.
Okay. When I'm on my phone, I'm usually promoting night classes. So
Right. But you're going to have to put it down to enjoy Hamilton because it's truly phenomenal. And if you've seen Hamilton, or if like, you know, you were an A push or just, you know, took a history class, you probably learned at the time that he was a founding father of the United States, but he was not ever a president.
Does anyone think he's president?
A lot of people do.
That's not the Mandela Effect. That's just stupidity.
No, it is. It is. It can, if we're taking this scope from the psychological perspective. Okay. Mm-hmm. So they did do a study. A bunch of people found out, they pointed out Alexander Hamilton specifically as a president and missed some actual presidents. And maybe that's stupidity. But for my explanation as to why this happens, it's association. So when you learn about all this shit in like A-push or whatever, all your neurons in that specific area that it's stored are popping off and your memory tracks are being made. So while you're also learning that Alexander Hamilton was a founding father, but not a president, you're also learning about this time period in general. Mm-hmm. So when your brain retrieves your information about Alexander Hamilton, it's kind of hard to isolate that fact. And so if you learned a bunch of other things and you pull that time period with it and all the other connections that specific memory has in your brain, it can get foggy. But you also studied history.
But not American history.
Okay. So
and he's on the $10 bill. So if you saw a lineup of people and it's like, who's president? Someone would probably recognize that and think, oh, he's on the $10 bill. He's president.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Right. It's easy to get confused. And this is just an example. So it's not like most people confuse that, but there were a significant amount of people who confused Alexander Hamilton as a former president. I wrote a joke in here.
People also think Ben Franklin was president, though. I've heard that one a lot.
Yeah, it's like the similar case.
Also, $100 bill.
Yeah.
Hunt.
You got Benjamins all up in my pocket.
So, do you want to hear my my joke about Alexander Hamilton? Because I'm like kind of like this one.
Yeah.
I didn't get to it. Okay, so Alexander Hamilton, he was a daddy, a founding father, but he wasn't a president daddy.
Okay.
It was kind of stupid. I didn't get to it in the moment. It was written back, but I didn't want to skip over it.
I really wish I had like the applause drop.
I do too. Because yeah.
He was a daddy of America, not a daddy of the White House.
Right. Yes. Okay. Well, anyway. One of my favorite quotes is that from this article is that neurons that fire together wire together. And I just love that so much. So believe it or not, firing and wiring together is the sign of a healthy brain. And so that's one way to explain the Mandela effect. Other things that basically describe this are confabulation, which is your brain's ability to just fill in the details. It's really good at being creative. And I feel like half the time I don't even have complete control over my brain, which actually I know I don't. And then just suggestibility. We saw that like when I was like, are you sure?
Pikachu's
Whatever.
tail.
Yeah. All yellow. Yeah.
I think so.
So at this point, I'm standing like, I don't know, the Mandela effect. Like, ooh, I'm not really sure on the legitimacy of it being like a weird thing. But I did find some things that could be evidence for the Mandela effect. So I feel like we've become experts on a bunch of little things, like give or take 10,000 hours per each topic on Night Classy. But somehow quantum physics still eludes us.
Every time we try to talk about quantum physics, it's a straight up disaster.
I'm going to try so hard because I feel like I kind of got it this time, but I'm not really sure.
Physics is just something that completely eludes me. And then you add in quantum and I don't know what that word means. It's just a bad time.
And add on top of that, basically it's like a theoretical science, but it also pulls from things that have been proven. So it's like,
does anyone actually understand quantum physics?
I think people think they do.
Yeah, I think
you
they
should have
lie.
my dad in as a sub for Patreon, and he'll teach you quantum physics.
That's true. Alex's dad is the only person I believe actually understands quantum physics.
I feel like that would be amazing. And I'm really excited to talk about it because I feel like I got it a little bit in relation to what I'm going to talk about. And I came up with a comparison I'm very proud of to help understand it.
Let's go.
Okay. So studies have been done over and over again about our ever expanding universe. And some of those studies have helped us come to the conclusion that the Big Bang was not the actual beginning of our universe. And I don't know if you've seen stuff about this at all. You should look it up. I'm not really going to get into the science of it because I was like, ooh, That's a lot. I don't want to bore people. There's a ton of stuff to back it up, but rather I'm going to delve into what could have come, what is supposed to have become before the Big Bang Theory, and it's called cosmic inflation. So, and some background for this. In the 1980s, some theoretical consequences of this theory of cosmic inflation were worked out. And then in the 1990s, 2000s, and 2010s, these consequences were not only observed in studies, but they were confirmed. And I could read them off to you. We can put them on show notes or something, but I just feel like it'll bore everyone. Yeah. So basically, these consequences of cosmic inflation tell us that pre-Big Bang, the universe was filled with a bunch of energy, rather than just particles, rather than matter. And so cosmic inflation had the energy that allowed the Big Bang to generate matter. So before the Big Bang, when cosmic inflation was and is happening, there's a bunch of expanding energy and it's going crazy. It's going stupid. It's going fast. And so my comparison that helped me understand this is that this cosmic inflation, picture a race car.
Okay.
And it's racing along, it's gaining speed when suddenly it catches fire and it begins to barrel out of control. And before it explodes, the race car is this cosmic inflation. Now, when the race car explodes eventually, when it like completely loses control and crashes on the racetrack, that's the Big Bang.
Okay.
And the Big Bang creates matter in a different way in the car crash and in the universe as we know it. So like, for example, in the race car, not all of the parts that go flying from the race car when it crashes into the wall are going to catch fire, or they're not going to all hit the ground at the same time, right? It's not all going to stick to a uniform like thing when it like explodes, basically. Okay. So the same thing goes for cosmic inflation and Big Bangs, plural. Cosmic inflation doesn't end everywhere at the same time. There are specific places where it continues to inflate, and somewhere this Big Bang creates a whole new, different, observable universe. But the rest of the universe outside of this specific Big Bang keeps expanding beyond our own cosmic horizon. So these Big Bangs, there could be multiple of them, but they're also separated by inflating space. And this creates a multiverse. Did you follow any of that?
There's like a loud circus music playing in my head right now. I think I kind of understand. So there's multiple universes and they start to overlap as they expand.
No, they're not overlapping because the vacuum space that is cosmic inflation is still expanding in between them. Who knows? Maybe they do overlap. We don't really know.
Okay.
And again, this is a theory.
Okay.
Based off of what comes before the Big Bang. Because we didn't just magically explode into existence. Like there something before first. The Big Bang.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So in relation to the Mandela Effect, on a smaller scale, like in our day-to-day life, every time we make a decision, people think that alternate universes start to pop up here and there. So like I could come to a crossroads and I could turn left or I could turn right. I decide to turn left, but the possibility of me turning right still exists. It still hangs in there, and it creates this whole different reality.
Right.
And it creates a daughter universe. And so the Mandela Effect basically resides on the idea that people's consciousness can cross over or get entangled between these multiple realities.
Okay.
And it's all theoretical, right?
Yeah.
So this is like the Mandela Effect. You could explain it with science if you believe in that, but you could explain it with these things that have been.
If you believe in science. I'd like to think that we all do.
I do too, but there are also things that I believe in that science has not proven.
Well, yeah, but you still believe in science.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I am a hoe for science. But this multiverse theory, basically just picture a quilt.
Okay.
And each piece of patchwork is a different universe, and they don't all become created or have their Big Bang at the same time. But the Mandela Effect is basically people saying that, you know, maybe this part of your consciousness has crossed over from this different universe or reality. It's very confusing. I am not sure
So why is your
well.
consciousness just bouncing around?
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. There's not like really an explanation for that, but like tying it back to science, that's what I found when they were talking about like, well, we know that there was something before the Big Bang.
Yeah.
And so we don't really like, it's really, there's so much work that needs to be done when studying our consciousness and like what makes us conscious and like sentient beings.
Okay.
But also there's all that science that I talked about with like false memories.
Yeah.
So it's really depends on like which side you fall on,
Right.
what you want to buy into.
On the fun side or the probably true side?
Yeah. Exactly. But it's fun to think about, and although it's kind of a stretch for the Mandela Effect, it is cool to think about like what did happen before the Big Bang, what else could be out there.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, we don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities. Or we're just part of a computer simulation and glitches happen and we get like bounced from one simulation to another. Maybe that's the
I like
explanation.
that one a lot.
Yeah.
If I'm going to reach super far.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to wrap up here. I believe in science. I also, like I said, I believe in things that science has yet to explain. So who's to say? Please let us know what you think about this lesson. The Mandela Effect, is it a weird quirk of the human brain, or is it like clear evidence that we are existing amongst multiple realities?
Yeah, I'm going to go the Matrix route. We live in a computer simulation. And it's whoever's programming us isn't perfect.
I definitely think there are multiple realities, or that there could be. I don't know what to think in regards to the Mandela Effect. I lean towards science, but I also am like, I'm down for a little glitch in the Matrix. So let us know what you think on Instagram, Twitter, email, and we'll see you after this break.
All right. Let's hear a word from our sponsors.
Oh, wait, real quick. I need to do my sources.
Oh, God damn it, Hayley.
I'm sorry. Oh, God. And I closed out my document.
Oh, no. First
my
you interrupt me, then you're not even prepared.
Whoa. That's a accusation right there.
A true accusation.
It may or may not be true. But anyway, my sources are Good Housekeeping, PubMed.org, National Museum of American History, Ethan Siegel, a PhD astrophysicist,
Wow.
MandelaEffect.com, and CaliforniaAvocado.com.
I wish your only sources were the astrophysicist and avocado.com.
I do too. It basically would have been almost the same content, if that makes you feel good.
And BuzzFeed. All right, getting into it.
Kat, have you heard of Build Bar?
You know what? I have.
Well, maybe our listeners have not. Should we tell them about it?
I think we should, because it's pretty dope.
I think so too. All right, we'll let this secret out, okay? So Build Bar, it is a high-protein marine collagen bar, and it's also created by, like us, two female boss ladies.
Boss bitches.
Yes. I was going to say that, but I was like, I don't know. Should we say that in an ad?
I think they'd be okay with it. They're two pretty cool gals. So
they're boss bitches.
They are boss bitches, and they created a high-protein marine collagen bar. And it is high protein, so if you want some gains, you can get them. And it has collagen in it, which, if you don't know, helps your hair, skin, and nails. So you can look beautiful and get ripped.
It's bulking season, baby. Muscles are not just for men.
No.
So Build Bar is going to help you out with that big time, as well as, of course, like Kat said, things like our hair and our nails that we care a lot about. And I don't know if you knew this, but around our mid-20s, our bodies stop naturally producing collagen. And basically what they've done with this bar is they've allowed us to keep that process going. It keeps your body strong and useful. Not useful. Keeps your body strong.
Maybe useful.
Yeah, definitely useful. If you were not useful before, Build Bar can definitely help with that.
For sure.
It's the perfect snack, honestly.
It really is, because it tastes like dessert, but it is gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free. It has no processed sugars. So it won't make you feel heavy or bloated. It's not vegetarian, but most collagen does come from beef. So their collagen comes from fish. So it's definitely a better alternative if you're trying to be conscious with your diet.
So how do I get this? What do I need to do?
All you need to do is go to buildbar.com. That is BYLD bar, and enter promo code NIGHTCLASSY to get 10% off your order.
Use that code to check it out. Keep your body strong, your skin glowing, and your sweet tooth satisfied. Be a snack and eat one too with Build Bar.
So on Night Classy, we drink a lot of things. We drink wine, we drink Bud Light seltzers.
We do not discriminate
with
our alcohol intake.
Absolutely not. And one of my favorite ways of consuming alcohol is eating it.
Yeah, it's like a fun new experience. It's kind of like if you go to a really fancy bar and they have like cotton candy that's alcoholic, but actually this time it's like your classic.
Like on that Parks and Rec episode.
That's exactly what I was thinking
He like
of.
takes a vodka shot in the form of light.
Yes, but this one isn't like as, I don't know, out there. It's like your classic gel shot, but better. So Ethel Ambrosia, they have their own patented push-up cup.
Yes.
And it allows you to not get all messy and like get the stuff on your face after, like, whether you're in quarantine and not wearing makeup, or if you are, it's not going to get all over your face.
Yeah, and the best part about Ethel Ambrosia's gel shots is you don't have to make them. I don't know if you've ever tried to make gel shots, but it freaking sucks.
So bad. That should be left to the professionals.
Yeah, and let me tell you, these ladies are professionals. These gel shots are gorgeous. They taste good. They look good. And if you go to ethelambrosia.com and use promo code NIGHTCLASSY, you can get 15% off. Bow, bow, bow. Bow, bow, bow. So you should do it. We recommend it. All right. Well, today I'm going to talk about the history of nursing, which is a Patreon suggestion suggested by Cassandra Adres. Bam, bam, bam. And before I get into it, I just want to give a little bit of background on Cassandra and why she chose this topic. So Cassandra is freaking awesome, and she gave me like a huge list of topics. But it seemed to me that the history of nursing like stuck out, at least because she has such a background with it. So Cassandra is a nurse's aide, and she told me she was partially trained by a, quote, her words, blunt, tiny 80-year-old woman who helps teach classes and possesses vintage nursing knowledge.
Ooh.
Very cool. And Cassandra says that when this woman was teaching her how to, quote, properly clean a butt, she said, quote, I've been doing this before they started giving us gloves.
Oh, shit. Literally.
So this is disgusting. And I mean, also inspiring, because this woman
Berenstein
Bears.
She's a walking
Berenstein
relic.
Bears of nursing. But like, this shows us that like nurses obviously care a lot about their patients, because otherwise why would you do this? So
yeah, it's like having a bunch of kids, I feel like.
Yeah.
That you don't actually have to see out until they're 18.
It's tough. And so this got Cassandra interested in like what nursing looked like through the ages. She pointed out that she understands that the nursing profession has come a long way, and now they have strict supervision policies that prevent abuse and mistreatment of patients. And it kind of seemed like she was interested in how that developed, because obviously there are very high standards of nursing now. Nurses go through rigorous training, a lot of school. It is not easy to become a nurse.
Right. Oh my gosh. All my friends in college who were going through nursing school, like it seemed like they were going through hell every semester.
Oh yeah. It's
day.
It's really hard. It is not something to sneeze at, but it didn't used to be like that. So the history of nursing seemed like a really big, but really awesome topic. And I was really intimidated to tackle it, which is why I've waited so long. It's been like 2 months since she wrote in. I'm sorry, Cassandra.
Oh, thanks for speaking your truth.
I'm speaking my truth. But when I read her message, it felt like she was interested in two things. So she was interested in the development of nursing and in old, outdated practices like wiping a butt without gloves. So that's what I researched.
Health risks hardcore.
Oh, big time. Yeah. And so I'm going to start by giving a brief history on nursing. And then I'm just going to, so nursing was developed in like the Victorian era, more or less. And so at least modern nursing, obviously not all nursing, because that's been going on forever by everyone. But I'm going to talk about some Victorian medical practices that nurses probably had to put up with.
Oh, sweet.
So let's go. So my sources are Encyclopedia Britannica, Bored Panda, Mental Floss, Wikipedia, and actionproducts.com, which sounds like they're selling something, but it's a blog. And so, yeah, interesting. And so, like I said, nurses have obviously existed long before the 19th century in all parts of the world and every culture. But in the interest of time and scope, I'm just going to focus on the development of nursing as a profession in Europe, and then which trickles into the United States around the same time. And so our story opens in the mid 1800s in London with a woman named Florence Nightingale, who ended up earning the title the Mother of Nursing.
I feel like that's the most English name.
Florence Nightingale. Yes. She was very English, and she was not only English, but she was a rich bitch. She was she was English. She was well educated. She was a young lady of wealthy British parents, and Florence told her parents she wanted to be a nurse. And at the time, nursing was not considered a profession, especially for wealthy young ladies.
So who took care of people? Was it just doctors?
Yeah. So most of the time it was by people's family, because you didn't really go to a hospital unless you needed a doctor's intervention.
And would they call doctors in?
A lot of times doctors came to your house. That was usually the thing. So nursing at the time was more like you were taking care of the sick patient. You weren't really administering medical practices or helping the doctor. You were changing the bedpan, changing the sheets, keeping them clean, like remembering to give them their medicine, that sort of a thing. So nurses in hospitals were considered like unskilled labor. They were massively undervalued, and it was more like a servant's role, and also considered pretty dirty because they were dealing with a lot of like bodily fluids.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. And so this was in her society at the time, this was not a job for a lady of her standing. But Florence was a revolutionary, and she disagreed. So she felt that educated women could use their specialized knowledge of scientific principles and healthy lifestyles to drastically improve the quality of care given to sick patients.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so she had a big heart and a big brain, and she felt that nursing offered an intellectual career for women, which at the time there were so few. So in 1854, Nightingale was able to put her theory to the test during Britain's Crimean War. And so newspapers at the time were reporting that Russian soldiers nursed by religious orders rather than British soldiers recovered much better and more often survived. So there were religious orders sending basically like women on like missionary trips to help the wounded soldiers. And obviously that was better than like soldiers taking care of soldiers from like the opposite side.
Yeah, that's a classic setup for sabotage.
Totally.
I smell sabotage.
Yeah. And so the British government heard about this, and in response to that information, the British government sent Nightingale and a few other nurses to a military hospital in Scutari. It's in Crimea. Yeah.
Scutari.
It's modern day some other country, and I forgot to write it down.
Doesn't that always happen? We're like, I will definitely remember this.
I know this.
Or we won't talk about it. And then it's like, well, shit.
Yeah, so you can Google it. And upon arrival, Nightingale and her team saw the situation of the hospital, which was not good. So what they did, they came in, they scrubbed the walls and floors for sanitation. They opened the windows for ventilation. They prepared nourishing food for the hospital patients and administered medications and treatments. And within just weeks, the death rates plummeted. Just being in a clean environment with proper food and ventilation.
Crazy.
Yeah,
how
who would have thought?
Right?
Right.
Clean air, clean environment.
Just leave it to women. So infectious disease transmission was vastly reduced thanks to better sanitary practices. And within months, Britain's public knew of the lady with the lamp, Florence Nightingale, who made her rounds at night to sick and injured patients carrying a lamp. So she kind of became a household name, had this cool like superhero name as well.
Yeah, lady with a lamp.
Yeah.
It's like a play on lady
Lady and the Tramp. I don't know which one's better.
Hard to say.
It's hard to say. By the end of the 19th century, the value of educated professional nurses was well recognized, not just in Britain, but around the world. And this legacy fully transformed how sick people were taken care of. So for centuries, like I said, this responsibility of taking care of sick people has fallen on family members and took place mostly at home versus skilled professional care. So often it was only those with no family to care for them that ended up in hospitals. And often that care in hospitals was like abysmal. It was terrible. So in the 1800s, urbanization and industrialization increased the number of people without family because that also increased mobilization. People were moving around. They didn't have family in their city to take care of them. So the need for hospitalization went way up. And like I said, the quality of care in hospitals, a lot of times it was terrible. Sometimes it was good. It really varied. So some hospitals were great. Women from religious nursing orders were known to give especially good care. So again, that was kind of like a mission trip within their own country. Women from churches, like a lot of times went on, like had these projects where they wanted to care for people in hospitals, which is great.
I love this so much. I've never even thought about the history and what it looked like. And like, I just always assumed like medical care was pretty fine and there were hospitals. This is so cool learning about this.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. And so there was really good hospital care from these religious orders, but a lot of hospitals hired outside unprofessional help, like when needed, when they were overrun with people. Or even worse, they relied on recovering patients to care for other patients.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So like I said, like caring for patients, it was a servant role. Like it wasn't really a priority.
Yeah.
And so like it just fell on random people to like do the cleaning and the day-to-day care.
Yeah. It's
and
like
so,
having a bunch of kids and having the older kids, the younger ones.
Totally. And so this unreliable care was obviously becoming a big problem now that more and more people were ending up in hospitals. And by the late 19th century, especially as medical practices evolved, doctors needed assistance and the assistance of skilled nurses. So in all, the combination of hospitals and patients' need, the doctor's request, and the desire of women to have meaningful and intellectual work resulted in the creation of new medical professionals, the trained nurse. And in order to fill their own demand for nurses, hospitals created training schools for nurses. And so they would train these nurses, and in exchange for instruction, graduates from the program would work for the hospital unpaid for 2 to 3 years.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. That should be illegal then and now.
I mean, this was the Victorian age and it was women. So I don't think anyone gave a fuck at the time.
I stand by it then and now.
It definitely should be illegal, but it wasn't.
Also, okay, I maybe should have known this, but I started watching Nurse Jackie on Netflix and they were talking about how like doctors are the ones who diagnose and nurses are the one who actually administer this medical treatment. I was like, I've never like thought about it like that. And I've never been in a circumstance where I really like experienced that as a patient. And I don't know a lot about this topic, but I was like, wow, nurses like really like they're really like I knew they were doing stuff before but like I just never thought about how they are kind of like doing the doctor's dirty work.
I mean, they're doing the work.
Period.
Most of the time. And so now nurses are trained at colleges almost always. So training nurses at hospitals rather than colleges had long-term implications. For instance, the hospital training model reinforced segregation, as Black student nurses were barred from almost all American hospitals and training schools. They could only seek training at the limited number of horribly underfunded Black hospitals. So that is a big downside.
That's obviously super messed up.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to reflect on like how that has rippled throughout time.
Rippled through medical care, especially where Black people are not treated the same. And also doctors and nurses are not educated on how to treat Black patients, especially like I saw this example recently. I think he was a medical student. He created this whole handbook of like a lot of times diseases or skin diseases will show up on your skin.
Right.
And all the examples in most medical textbooks are for white skin. And he did a whole separate one of what like these conditions looked like on brown skin. Thankfully, I can't believe that hasn't been done sooner. Yeah. But that's just like one example of how medical care is like vastly inequitable. And so this is like one small reason for that. And so this model also strengthened the female domination of nursing, as very few hospitals allowed men to train as nurses.
What?
And this was because there are a few reasons for this. A big reason was because like nursing was considered a nurturing role. You weren't really at the time administering any like real medical care. You were like caring for a sick person. So that was considered something that women did. Also, the idea that you attend this nursing training and then you're unpaid for 2 to 3 years. Women have either their family or husband supporting them at this time. And so also, I imagine, this didn't come up in the research that I saw, but I imagine this also like put like class limitations on nursing, because you had to like somehow afford to work for 2 to 3 years without any income.
Yeah. And thinking about like going into battle or wars, like obviously that was mostly men.
Yeah.
And then having the women there to nurse them back to health.
Totally. And we still see this today. Like the whole word like nurse, male nurse, is so stupid, but like it comes about because like the stigma is that only women are nurses, which is not true anymore. But like still, despite these shortcomings, nurses definitely changed hospitals for good in a big way. They provided a clean, systemized environment and provided patients with passionate and skilled care. So hospitals were no longer dirty and chaotic. There were professionals there running the show.
Wow, we love a clean hospital.
We do. And over time, as we know, nurses' roles became more specialized and nurses administered increasingly complex medical procedures. Nurses also played a pivotal role in preventing the spread of infectious diseases. So during tuberculosis, pneumonia, and influenza outbreaks, nurses in the United States and Europe often cared for infected patients in the patient's homes. And while they were there, they taught the families and communities about germ theory and how to prevent the spread of infection. And much of these services were aimed at poor and immigrant communities who wouldn't have otherwise had access to that kind of education.
Okay, you saying germ theory just sent me on a whole brain train where it's like back, like we know germs are real and how they spread now.
We do know.
It was a theory back then. And now I'm like, wow, what if in like 200 years from now, they're like Mandela Effect as a studied science?
Oh my God. Maybe. So these are considered private nurses, but many private nurses took the more lucrative route of caring for patients with the financial standing to pay them well. And home nursing.
Chase that money.
Yeah,
it happens.
And they did. And people who are not nurses chase that money.
Oh.
So home nursing went largely unregulated and opened the door for untrained nurses to take advantage of the market, which in turn oversaturated it. There were way more quote unquote nurses than nursing opportunities. And so that obviously pissed off actual trained nurses when all these imposters were coming in. And so many trained private nurses were unable to find work. And this led to, at the turn of the 20th century, nurses established professional organizations that set standards and licensing protection. So before this, it was kind of a free-for-all.
The Wild West.
It was the Wild West. And so by the 1930s, the development of new technology and clinical practices led to more intensive nursing practices, which moved the vast majority of nursing outside of homes and into hospitals. And by the 1950s, hospitals were the largest employer of registered nurses, a trend which obviously still continues today. And so nursing also continued to grow more diverse. The American Nurses Association was desegregated in 1949.
Whoa.
That was late, but it was, thankfully,
Okay.
eventually. And this was possible due to the nurse shortage brought on by World War II. And so the National Organization of Colored Graduate Nurses kind of capitalized on the nurse shortage, so they were able to advocate for desegregation. And after desegregation, the National Organization of Colored Graduate Nurses disbanded because they had met their goal of desegregation, but they reformed as the National Black Nurses Association in 1971, after the American Nurses Association continued to fail to meet their unique needs. Shock Pikachu.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's unfortunate. But nursing education has also changed. Hospital-based schools have declined, and they've been replaced by 4-year collegiate programs. Graduate school options and advanced degrees have also increased in number for nurses. And by the 1970s, nurses had established their own doctoral programs, emphasizing the importance of science and research in the field. And overall, since their emergence, nurses have been on the front lines in increasing the quality of care of their patients and developing new medical techniques and technology, as well as shaping the healthcare structure as an institution. Yay, nurses.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Especially right now during a freaking pandemic.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
nurses and all healthcare professionals.
Yeah, seriously, thank you. And so I'm starting to wrap up my history segment, but Cassandra asked one more question, and she asked what candy stripers were. So I didn't know where to fit this in my notes. But I'm gonna just go ahead and tell you guys. So from what I can tell, candy stripers emerged in the 1940s, and they were basically female volunteer nursing assistants. They were usually between 13 and 18 years old. And this position gave them a chance to get familiar with nursing so that to decide if they wanted to do it as their career. So it was kind of like job shadowing or an internship for high school girls that were interested in being nurses.
Why were they called candy stripers?
Because they wore these gray and white striped uniforms. I don't know where the candy part came from. I didn't do a lot of research on this. But
They're between 13 and 18 years old. They're so sweet. Young ladies.
yes, they're
Inappropriate comments.
Yeah. Save the children. Moving on.
Oh, no.
So that was a little bit of a history. And so like Cassandra was wondering, so her mentor nurse practiced since before the use of gloves. And so I want to talk a little bit about some of the weirder and more dangerous old-fashioned medical practices, some of the which
Here
nurses had to deal with. So before I get into this, I'm not trying to blame nurses for how shitty medicine was. It was not at all their fault. The point I'm trying to get across is how primitive medicine was at the beginning of professional nursing. And
Cool.
So a lot of these examples are from the Merck Diagnosis and Therapy, which is the oldest continuously published medical language textbook. It was first published in 1899 by American drug manufacturer Merck and Company. And the Mental Floss article that I found this in also points out that not only do a lot of these medical treatments not help, but they are counterintuitive and may cause immediate harm, such as hot baths for heat exhaustion and coffee for insomnia.
Ooh.
So let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it. We have to now.
So I just have a lot of bullet points. Not a lot, but we'll have some fun. So laxatives, usually in the form of castor oil, were prescribed for the treatment of eruptive fever, which includes smallpox, chickenpox, and scarlet fever.
Oh, you're feeling like shit. Let us help you by making you feel worse.
Way worse. So like we know, taking a laxative for a fever does absolutely nothing but make you feel more terrible and dehydrates you.
The nurse nods her head. She's like, yeah, I bet you were feeling like you did 20 minutes ago. That shows you next time you complain. It could always be worse.
The idea was that like your body would like get like flush out the disease, but we know that that's not how that works. The manual also included a list of hiccup remedies like drinking a mix of sugar and vinegar, but also on this list was to inhale chloroform.
What?
Yeah, for hiccups.
Did people die?
I don't know. Maybe,
probably. Yeah, but I don't know.
One piece of advice given by doctors and probably nurses in the 19th century was that smoking could help treat asthma. And it was smoking cigarettes was the most common advice for this. There were also like special asthma cigarettes.
Good God. Think about freaking big tobacco just pushing that narrative.
Forever.
You know what?
I bet big tobacco came up with this so they could sell asthma cigarettes. Yeah. And everyone just was just like, I like smoking. Let's.
You know what I will say? Smoking a cigarette every here and there. I don't condone it, but I'm not going to say that I don't do it. You know, a drunk cigarette can go a long way. The occasional
drunk cigarette.
It can treat some things.
It like depression. No, just kidding. It can't. But
no,
you might do it when you're depressed.
But I do appreciate a drunk cigarette here and there. But I do not support it for treating asthma.
No,
that is wrong.
Not for asthma. And sometimes it was recommended that asthma patients smoke cannabis, which probably would make you feel better.
It'd make you feel better, but I feel like the smoke would be an issue.
Yeah.
Maybe if they had edibles or CBD oil, that would be
also,
good.
this is not real medical advice. So if you have asthma, use your inhaler. Don't take edibles.
We're not doctors or nurses.
Yeah.
Please do not sue us.
Other ailments that smoking was said to treat included hay fever, foul breath, head colds, and canker sores. However, it was not recommended for children under 6 years of age.
Oh, well, thank God. My 7-year-old will be just fine.
Yeah, exactly. Cocaine and also cinnamon was recommended to treat nausea.
Remember the cinnamon challenge? Did you ever do that?
What if you just did it with cocaine?
Oh my gosh. I don't know what would happen, but I don't want to find out. Did you ever do the cinnamon challenge?
Yeah, I did. Did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I think everyone did.
It was dangerous. Like,
yeah, you could actually like choke and die.
Yeah, because you put the spoon in your mouth and then it was all dry and then you inhaled it because you were coughing.
Yeah, it just like coats your throat and your lungs.
It's not good.
It's a bad
don't
situation.
Do it. I feel like kids these days.
Oh my! Kids these days, they're TikToks and
exactly. I feel like cinnamon challenge because it was a Vine thing, wasn't it?
It was.
I'm just waiting for it to come back on TikTok. I don't think kids these days are that stupid.
I don't understand.
I think we were
TikTok.
stupider,
and like I would get it, but I'm not going to. But I don't. It's not that I don't understand it. I just feel like it's this thing I know about, but I don't actually know the details.
Yeah.
It's like the book that everyone talks about and has read, but I haven't read it yet.
Same. And the thing about TikTok is I think about TikTok dances. And when I first, I teach middle school, so they were always wanting to film themselves doing TikTok dances. And I'd confiscate notes from them that said let's meet up after school and film a TikTok dance. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I'm kind of now addicted. I don't have TikTok, but I go on the discovery page on Instagram and watch people doing TikTok dances. And there's something really addictive of watching pretty Instagram models dance in unison.
Yes.
I don't know what it is, but it sucks you in.
The unison part is what does it for me.
Yeah. It's fascinating. And I don't understand it, but I can see the appeal.
Me too.
Also, I loved Vine, so I guess I get it.
Maybe we should just do it. Just give our information to
China
TikTok developers. Yeah.
Anyway,
that's a whole other thing.
Ban TikTok. No, don't do that. Okay, so we all know about bloodletting, which actually can be effective for a small number of ailments, including hemochromatosis, which leads to the abnormal iron accumulation in the liver. So it can be good for that.
You got too much blood.
Yeah.
Come here.
Yeah. So do that. But
I want to suck your blood.
That's what the leeches say. But in the Victorian era, it was prescribed for all kinds of things, including nausea and morning sickness from pregnancy.
I would feel like such a badass gothic bitch with some freaking leeches up on me, sucking my blood. I'm kind of here for that. I'm kind of into it.
So you might get your chance, because I'm just going to skip ahead in my notes here. Leeches used to be used for earaches, but like new evidence is coming out to say like this could be effective. So leeches attached to the host numb pain, while white peptides and protein in their saliva prevent blood clotting, so they could drain the infection. And today leeches are being looked at as a possible way to aid circulatory disorders. So you might get your chance.
Okay, I mean, hopefully not. I'd rather do it for the aesthetic, but
well, you can. I'm sure there are leeches in Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
We'll find you some.
If you hop in the swamp.
So this is kind of like I told everyone we would do prison wine. Hayley's now volunteering to let us put leeches on her. So stay tuned for the video.
I'm more excited for that than I would be. I just need some guarantees that nothing like actually bad, like that there would be no negative medical recourse from doing this.
I mean, I'm telling you right now that there's positive medical recourse.
Well,
so let's put some leeches. Where would you put the leech?
I'd probably want it like, I don't know. I think like on my chest or my arm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'd put it on the tip of my nose.
Are you serious?
I think that would make the best picture.
Yeah, well, I guess if we're doing it for aesthetics, I'll just do one on either side, make it like a teardrop raining down.
Or like a big fake eyelash.
Oh my god, yes. Or to just right on your forehead, right where
you
make
could
it
have
some
like
horns.
little horns.
Yeah, they're like flopped over.
That would be cute.
Someone reach out if you got the leech connection.
If you
hit us
have
up
leeches.
on Twitter or Instagram.
Let us know. Moving on.
I'm drowning in the leeches.
Common remedies for insomnia included alcohol, cannabis, coffee, putting hot compresses on your feet, and cold compresses on your head.
Okay, I feel like the first two would actually be that would help maybe not help, but it would make you fall asleep.
It would make you fall asleep, yeah. So I guess it kind of did help. And also, this one wouldn't help. Cold douches.
Oof.
Yeah.
Ouch. I mean, douches are bad no matter what.
Right, but like putting ice cold water up your vagina.
I'm already icy. I don't need a cold douche.
All right, so let's talk about cocaine. The use of the cocoa was medicine popularized by Sigmund Freud in the 1880s, who called it the magical drug. Cocaine was promoted as a way to treat morphine addiction, depression, anxiety, fatigue, and migraines, and alcoholism. And it was available over the counter in tonics, powders, wines, and soft drinks.
That's so funny that it would be treated for like that it would treat alcoholism, because I feel like it would just be like trading one vice for another. Like, oh, you're addicted to alcohol. Let me just give you something a little bit more addictive and a little bit more crazy.
Right. So from 1898 to 1910, heroin was the main ingredient in many cough syrups and was marketed as a less addictive morphine substitute. However, the opposite was true, and many people ended up addicted to heroin.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It was lean before there was lean.
Right. Some dark shit. Also, at the beginning of the 20th century, something called malaria therapy was introduced. And with this, patients with syphilis were purposely infected with malaria.
And then they had the mosquitoes suck out the malaria.
Surprisingly, that wasn't their train of thought, but maybe that was the original train of thought. But because the malaria introduced a fever high enough to kill the syphilis bacteria, which actually worked. It was estimated.
Crazy.
Well, it worked for 15% of patients. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It worked for a lot of patients, but 15% of those patients who received this treatment ended up dying from malaria.
I mean, hey, for the greater cause.
But like, yeah, it saved some people. So I don't know. I think this article made it seem like it was like it did more like good than harm because there was no cure for syphilis at the time. So like you just took this risk.
Yeah, I feel like thinking about that, like who's the first person who thought of this and like convincing other people that it could work? Yeah. Crazy, man.
Crazy. Could be its own lesson. And in the 19th century, the cure for rheumatism was introduced in Australia, which involved sitting inside a dead whale carcass for 30 hours.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And it was believed that after that, you would be relieved of aches for 12 months.
12 months guaranteed. It's like the traveling circus. They just go wherever the dead whale carcass is. Right. Jesus Christ.
And I looked in the comments section of this and someone was like, yeah, I would say my rheumatism was cured too after that, so I wouldn't have to do it again. Yeah. Like, what's worse? And then my last one is that until the 1890s, many medicines contained human body parts. For example, human liver was prescribed to treat epilepsy, and the most common ingredients were human bone, fat, and flesh.
Why? And were these people volunteers to be a part of?
I think it was it started out with people robbing and pillaging Egyptian grave sites and taking mummies, powdering the mummies and making them into medicine. And then obviously there were a lot of like counterfeit things like said it was mummy, but it wasn't. But like they still were doing this. And then from there, I think it turned to like a lot of like grave robbing and stuff like that.
So if your corpse were to like be used for medicine, like do you think there was a part that you'd be like more willing to be let used? I mean, I don't know if you're
I'm dead. I don't care. You can do whatever you want to me when I'm die. I really don't give a fuck.
Okay, you heard it here first.
But if I got to choose a part of me for someone to eat, my wet ass pussy. Just kidding.
Is it WAP or WAP?
I feel like
it's WAP.
In the song, doesn't she go WAP WAP?
I don't
wet
know.
Ass pussy, something like that.
But there've been like, I listened to another podcast, Higher Learning, with Rachel Lindsay and John Latham, but they were like, or Van Latham, not John Latham, when they were like discussing that, and he was like WAP, and he was like just being like facetious, and she's like, that just sounds wrong, and like it does to me. WAP sounds like
FAP. Yeah. Which I guess it kind of makes sense. But I'm pretty sure it's WAP, but correct me if I'm wrong.
I vote WAP all the way.
I think it's WAP. Anyway, that was my lesson. Thank you so much, Cassandra. If you want to choose a lesson, check out Patreon. There's all kinds of other stuff on Patreon as well. If you don't want to donate, please, or if you do donate, you can also rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on social media. Suggest us to your friends. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for listening. And 3, 2, 1, class dismissed.